thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. Well, hundreds of residents were at the Moose Hall earlier this evening for an event that raises awareness around issues of food security in the community. The 24th annual Empty Bowls Caring Hearts event welcomed attendees back inside for the first time since the pandemic. Jessica Clement has the story.
After 3 years of being a drive-through event, the annual Empty Bowls fundraiser brought residents back inside for an evening of good food and company, all for a good cause.
So people have a simple meal, and then tonight their bowl is filled, and hopefully with the money we raise, somebody else's bowl can get filled as well.
Peter Blau, one of the original organizers for the Thunder Bay event, says it's an international project that's meant to bring attention to food insecurity. Blau adds that she's been overwhelmed by all the community support over the past 24 years.
I always wonder how come. I mean, I still see new faces. I am impressed with Thunder Bay that every year we seem to be doing, even when we did the drive-through, it was harder. People stayed in their car. It was much more difficult. And now it's back to in person, and it's really satisfying.
The event is a fundraiser for Shelter House Thunder Bay and the Thunder Bay Food Bank. Ticket holders got to pick their own ceramic bowls, crafted by artists from the Thunder Bay Potters Guild, and got to pick between 6 different types of soups. Around 490 tickets were sold this year, which co-chair Robin Cooper says was a combination of sit-down diners and drive-through attendees.
We also held a takeout event as well, so for folks who wanted to continue to support us but didn't want to come inside, we sold, I think, 130 takeout dinners. Everyone got a soup and a bowl as well. They can take it home and they can have their soup at the same time we're having ours.
Cooper adds that she really missed seeing the Moose Hall so full for the event.
You know, the drive-through was nice because we got a chance to chat with people as they went through the line, and people were so supportive. But this is really what Empty Bowls is about creating community. People getting together, seeing old friends, meeting new ones. That's why we have a lot of the long tables, so people can sit with others that they've never met before.
Jessica Clement, TVT News.
The Urban Abbey was filled with smiles and laughter earlier this afternoon for an event meant to give people with dementia, their care partners, and their families a place to socialize. Dementia Cafe is a tri-monthly event uniquely designed by and for people living with dementia. And this week, it's part of a larger conference called Living Well with Dementia. Hosted by Lakehead University, the conference's goal is to shine a light on the fact that it's possible to live well with dementia and to challenge the stigma. Elaine Wiersma, associate professor at LU, says they want people to see that it's still possible for people to live with their lives after a diagnosis.
To bring that message of hope that, you know, it is possible to still have joy, to still have life after a diagnosis, that it is possible to get connected with some really amazing people. We're going to learn about some new innovative initiatives that hopefully we can bring here to Thunder Bay as well.
I think the big thing is a number of people come from the rural areas, and it's a chance again for people who do not have the opportunity to sit down, see what is happening in the local area, and to talk to people to really get together. You can't beat that face-on-face meetings.
The Living Well with Dementia Conference will continue tomorrow at the Norwester Hotel from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thunder Bay's Transit's aging Water Street Bus Terminal is set for a multi-million-dollar upgrade that is expected to double the current space for passengers and bring accessibility and aesthetic improvements. The bus terminal renovation project's total price tag is roughly $2.5 million. The facility has seen little to no changes since it was built in 1978. Some of the other upgrades that will be implemented to the terminal are heating areas, redesigned walkways, and improved lighting. Transit Services Manager Brad Loroff says the current state of the terminal is due for an upgrade, and if the project is successful, he says it will be a building block for other major transfer points across the city like Lakehead University, Confederation College, and the Regional Hospital.
So the Waterfront Terminal is a tired facility. It's been a number of years since that facility has seen some updates. So the purpose of this project is to do just that, try and address that. We have other transfer points across the city that are also in line to maybe see some updates. And so the work from what happens at Water will create a model for what can be utilized elsewhere across the city. So
Construction on the upgraded Water Street Terminal is expected to be complete by October of 2025. Officials at the Thunder Bay Museum says it's come out of the pandemic stronger than ever, thanks in part to some much-needed help from the province. The museum was losing revenue as the pandemic shut down in-person events, but 2 grants from the Trillium Foundation totaling $158,000 allowed the museum to step up fundraising, invest in some renovations, and develop its digital capacity. That includes a new online catalog of their vast collection of historic images.
Now we have the capacity with a partnership with Shout Media to create the ability for folks to go onto our website, to search through photographs, and to be able to download the high resolution copies. And that's really important for the public to be able to access what we're preserving for them on their behalf.
I had the opportunity to go through some of them in putting together some of the things I'll be sharing with my constituents. And it's so interesting. There's so much history in those photos. And I really encourage people to come and take advantage of what's here at the museum.
Bourgeois says the Trillium Foundation, an arm's-length fund that supports nonprofits and community groups, was crucial to helping institutions like the museum maintain operations and avoid layoffs despite pandemic shutdowns. Hospice Norwest welcomed a pair of special guests to Thunder Bay recently. The authors of a new book titled Hope for the Best, Plan for the Rest answered questions about palliative care and the tough decisions surrounding it. The event at the Norwester Hotel was called Dialogues. Death and dying are still topics that many people typically avoid talking about until they have no choice. But that's what Hospice Norwest and the authors from McMaster University want to change by encouraging discussion and asking the hard questions.
Hospice Northwest is a local nonprofit organization here in Thunder Bay, and we have a variety of programs and services. But one of the programs is a program called Dialogues, where we open an invitation to the public to talk about something to do with death and dying.
We had a light bulb moment working together when we realized that we were sitting on a hotbed of patient and family stories. We realized that they were shedding light on what they wished they could have had or would have done differently or wished they would have known.
When you're thinking about the future and preparing, it doesn't mean you're not still being hopeful, and they can coexist and that hope evolves.
The title of their talk, Walking Two Roads, refers to their emphasis on embracing two paths, a curative solution-driven road for people facing a terminal illness and one that immediately considers future palliative care needs. Students at St. Vincent and Sherbrooke schools will be getting some new school supplies and technology soon. They've been chosen as this year's recipients of the annual school supply drive put on by Staples and the local Kiwanis Club. Jonathan Wilson has that story.
Thanks to a school supply drive put on by Staples and the Kiwanis Club of Thunder Bay, St. Vincent School and Sherbrooke Public School will be able to purchase more school supplies for their students. The two schools received more than $6,200, which they will split evenly.
This type of an investment will enhance student learning in the classrooms.
St. Vincent School Principal Eric Oster says the annual campaign, which targets smaller schools in the district, is a great way for his students to get access to things they might not be able to.
The impact that this money will have on our school is tremendous. We have a bunch of different ideas of how we'd like to spend the money invested into our students. Some of the ideas that we've thrown around is bumping up some of our technology in our schools, increasing our playground equipment, and also taking a look at different items to purchase for our gymnasium.
The acting principal of Sherbrooke Public School, Steve Danier, says the campaign shows just how generous the community is, adding that they also want to focus on technology for their share.
Right from the iPads, they're looking at buying those to enhance the learning. Also, they're looking at buying some of the newer curriculum devices that from JK right up to grade 8 will support the students, and just different assistive technology for the students.
And the students at Sherbrooke had plenty of ideas for where they want the money to go.
I know some kids that are really good at art that would really love art supplies to help them out to advance more in art or other stuff like technologies.
I like to see the money used for art since a lot of kids draw here. Also art, because a lot of kids can't get their own.
Staples General Manager Lisa Toms says her team, in partnership with Kiwanis, continue the program year after year as a way of giving back to the community.
Every year it becomes more and more important in a challenging environment for families to be able to have enough funds for their kids to get a proper education. So us being involved in this has really made a difference.
Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.